Hey everybody, welcome back to Sink or Swim Garage. Let's get started and I'll show you the block and then we'll go over the heads that I have and the pistons and rods, and I'll show you guys what I got and we can go from there. So let's look at this. All right, you guys, so here's the block. It is going to be a 511 block, and the date code on it right here, you can see it, B1671. All right, and it's pretty much got, you know, new cam bearings. See where you can see here where the paper, the plastic that they wrapped in it is set so long that it kind of embedded itself on here. But you can see it's got the, you know, fresh crosshatch in there and everything. It's all board. Its block has been sitting, and I just got to give the block a good cleaning up, and then we can pretty much use it. But it's got the new cam bearings and new freeze plugs, and it's pretty much ready to go as far as that goes. So we're going to go 406. All right, so these are going to be the pistons that we're going to be running. You can see the part number on there. They're going to be Keith Black 147s is what the part number is. Keith Black, and then it's going to be a 147. That's the part number. And if you look at these, I can give you some, put the description below so you can look at them if you want to, but is what that is. It's 18cc dish in here, and it's got the single valve relief all the way across. They call that like a 2cc valve relief right here. They're on a 5.7 rod. They've been clearanced with the ARP bolts right here. Kind of had to, you know, trim them down a little bit for like, because the reason why you have to, and if anybody, I'm sure you guys might already know, but some people who don't know, I'll let you know, but you can see here, see how I kind of clearanced them right here on the edges? You can see it. Reason why you have to do this. When you use a 5.7 rod in a 400, unless you get a small base circle camshaft, you're going to have interference issues with the rods hitting the camshaft. If you don't clearance it, that's what's going to happen. And it usually occurs, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a little while since I was putting these guys. It's been a couple years ago. We circle track raced, and I was big into it. But I think it's number 5 and number 6 usually that hit. You know, don't quote me on that, but ask some of the other guys on YouTube. They know a lot about this stuff. Usually that's the ones that hit is 5 and 6, I think. And when you put the camshaft, and if you just go buy a regular camshaft off the shelf for a small block Chevy, if you run a 5.7 rod in there, or you don't buy rods that are already clearanced for the regular standard camshaft size, you're going to have clearance issues. You're going to have to grind the rods down. And that's usually what happens. So anytime you go with that 5.7 rod and you just throw a cam in there without it being a small base circle, like a lot of 383s that people built, they had to run clearanced rods, which means the edge of the rod, it's clearance to go around and not hit the camshaft. And when you run a 5.7 rod in a 400, you got to clearance them. And I clearanced them a couple years ago and just had them sitting because I knew that I was going to need them one day, and luckily I found that rotating assembly. Yeah, I can go the 377 route, but I'm not trying to build a wound up screaming engine to go the hot rod power tour. I'm trying to build something that's torquey. You know, I can burn some tires with it and try to get the most reliability out of it as I possibly can. So those are the pistons we're going to go with. And I gave you the part number off of my link description below so you can look them up for yourselves. But those are the pistons that are going to be on a 5.7 rod. Now here's the compression ratios of these pistons. So basically, and I'll go over the heads with you that I have here too and show you them as well. At 58cc head on there, with that piston in a 406 with a 5.7 rod and a thin head gasket, one of those 15,000 steel shim ones, that should net me right at almost 11-1. And I know that's kind of a high compression, but with aluminum head, do you think I'd be okay at the power tour with that? Do you think I can still kind of get away with running pump premium gas? Or should I just kind of stick with a 64cc head and be at 10-2-1, you know, and run it that way? I mean, you guys give me your opinion, what you think, and here's the head choices that we have. I'll show you. GM fast burn head, or the performance GM heads, aluminum ones. You can see them. And the part number on these is going to be 123677112. That's the part number on them. And they're 64cc chamber, or these are 58cc chambers, and they're 202/16s on these ones. And another thing, what I like about these heads also, and I'm going to show you here, if you look at the pattern, they got the pattern for the Vortec or the old style intake. So you can run any kind you want. All right, so that's the first selection head we have for those GM performances. Those heads in a thin head gasket would put us right close to 11-1. And then if we just run like a 30 thousandths head gasket, 35 thousandths, you know, we'd probably stay right at around 10-8-1, things like that, which is still fine, you know. But I was just trying to get the most power out of this, but make it very reliable, and that's why I was asking your opinion. I know aluminum heads, you know, they kind of hold heat better. They don't detonate as easy when you start getting up into compression like that. I mean, there's other factors. I mean, we could probably almost run this thing on E85, you know what I mean, and go that route too. I mean, this thing is, we're starting this from the bottom right now, so we can do different things, you know what I mean? So that's always an option, what we can do. I mean, I need to kind of make things simple if I can, to speed along the process because of such the amount of body work and painting and all that, trying to get everything prepped and ready to go. But we'll go to the next head selection. This is going to be a World Product Sportman 2 head, and it's cast iron. And they're going to be also the 202/16, obviously, and they're a 64cc chamber. And we'll show you those. These are the chambers on these. And you could always tell these World Products by the way the head bolts were on the bottom right here. You could always tell the way that they, you know, the head bolts went through here, that they were World Products. They always look different than any other cast iron head. Like they were always had a different look to them. And especially the chamber in here. The chamber always, they almost looked as if, you know, like a dart. I don't know if World Products is like made like dart or what, but they always had that dart looking chamber inside of them usually. And we got to go through them and redo them, but these are the ones that we also found that we had in there. And they have the guide plate screw in stud just like the aluminum heads do. And they have the solid lifts. These are solid lift springs, like a solid lift camshaft, not hydraulic lift. It's just a solid lift. I forget what these are, but these Sportman 2s, I can give you the part number off of these if you need it, but I can't remember. These heads have always had like a funky way of looking up the part numbers on these. Like you never, like it was like a I-037 or something like that. I forget what it was, but I know what these are because I got them written down. They're 64 cc's, they're 202/16s. The GM Performance heads, I think as far as the numbers go, I think they're relatively close. But now these are cast iron heads. So, all right, so that's choice number 2. So the third choice that I have, and this is where it gets interesting at. I have a set of 220, and I only could find one of them over there, but I know there's another one there. I just didn't feel like digging in and grabbing it out of there. But they're 220 Motown. I believe they're 208/16s, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're 208/16s. Now that's a pretty good size flowing head. Do you guys think that I would be at that, you know, 10-2, 10.5-1 if I use the thin head gasket to kind of bump it up a little bit more? With those Motown 220 cast iron heads with the 208s, do you think that they would be okay on a 400 like that? I mean, it's 406 cubic inch. I mean, it's a pretty good amount of cubic inches, but do you think that they would be okay as far as running them on there, as far as the performance? How do you guys feel about that? What's your thoughts on that? I know of a lot of hydraulic flat tappet cams that I can use, but I'd like to hear your ideas and tell me what you guys think about it. Like, where would you guys go with it as far as a street motor, you know, that's kicking out 350, 375 horse, something like that, you know what I mean, have a good time with it. I think it would be good enough to kind of, you know, get the chevelle rolling pretty good, so, and it's be reliable where you can run pump gas and stuff in it. So these are what we're going to use. This is where we're going to go. So we got 3 head choices. 406, you've seen the pistons. Let me know what you think, and I basically want to tell all you guys, my subscribers that I have, I want to tell you guys, thank you so much for subscribing to me. I'm not in this for all that other stuff that whatever it is people do with all. I just want to have fun, have a good time. I want to bring you all along with me, and I just never get to enjoy anything anymore because I work so much. So basically, I'm just going to make videos, man, and have a good time and have fun, because this is what I love to do. I've been loving to do this since I was, 15, 14, 16 years old, So I'm going to do it whether I do it on here or I do it outside of this internet thing. I'm going to do it regardless. So, but I really do appreciate you guys, and I want you to know that I am honored that you will watch me on this and allow me to do these things. And maybe it's helpful to some of you guys, maybe it's not, but I really appreciate you guys, and I want you to know that I do appreciate you, and I thank you. So thank you so much, and we're going to wait for the parts to come in for the 406, and when they come in, we got some other stuff we're going to do, right, just to hurry up, knock that stuff out of the way. We got some painting we got to do, and I'm going to video that. We're going to do some paint work and stuff to get some of these cars done, to get them out of our way. And then the parts will be here by then. We'll get started on putting the 406 together. We're going to put it on the engine stand. We're going to fire it up and hope to God there's no leaks. So we don't want any leaks, because that's not good. So we'll get that put together, get it running on the stand, check it out, make sure everything's good. We'll get everything prepped and ready underneath the hood of the Chevelle, get the engine in it, get it going so that we can start working on the body, and that way we don't have to push it around every time we need to move it or whatever. But yeah, so that's where we're headed next. So all we got to do is a couple paint repairs on some of these cars that we have here to get them done, and then we're going to get right on the Chevelle, because it's going to be right around the corner before you know it. So see you guys on the next one, and thank you so much for subscribing to me. Thank you. Have a good night. Yeah, you guys, and I'll show you this really quick. Give you a quick view of it. But this is a 1984 Hurst Olds. You can see some of it here, but it's got kind of covered up. But basically, we'll have that coming to the channel too as well. This is kind of had this one for a long time, and it's basically just been sitting. We'll get a video on this one and get it going and get it back on the road, and you guys can see it.